Annie Rose, we had to interrupt because of breaking news. There's a pursuit underway in the Van Nuys area. Rich Prickett is overhead in Sky 5 HD. Rich, good morning.
Good morning, Eric and Jessica. You're looking at a white sedan here that's being pursued by the LAPD Van Nuys division. We are on Kester now from Van Owen, and you see this white car that's been traveling at high speeds on surface streets. We're still awaiting confirmation on what the initial want is, but we're hearing that this person might be wanted for being armed and possible car a stolen vehicle. So we're working to confirm that, but that is the initial report. You can see the white car still trying to navigate through the surface streets area. The pursuit's been going for a short period of time, but this vehicle's essentially stayed in the same area here of Van Nuys, basically doing circles here around this residential area near Kester and Van Owen, now on Hart Street, and making a turn right towards us here. So whether or not this person is familiar with the area is not entirely sure, but oftentimes when we see a vehicle kind of stay to a specific area, that they are familiar with where they're at and possibly looking for a way to ditch the vehicle and get out. Now back on to Van Owen here, westbound again, making another loop around this particular area. LAPD doing what they can to keep up with the vehicle, but the car's been driving rather erratic, opposite side of traffic. At some point, you can see just how close it's getting to some of these cars here as it's trying to pass. We saw it make its way through a red light, nearly T-boning a vehicle near the intersection of Van Owen and Kester here. Now coming back up to a major, and again, another northbound turn on Kester. So LAPD in pursuit, possibly an armed suspect, possible stolen vehicle here in Van Nuys. And LAPD not only has the squad cars down low, but they also have the helicopter overhead giving an update on directions for the LAPD. We're not seeing the black and whites directly behind them. There they go. They're coming around the corner now. Several units from the LAPD start now making a turn and directly behind the vehicle at this point. And, you know, it's been going rather fast through these residential areas, which, you know, you get a lot of foot traffic through this area. So if you're hearing about this pursuit and you're right in this area of Hart and Vesper, Van Owen, and Kester, just be on the lookout, because this guy is, or this person has been driving through this area over and over again rather quickly, nearly missing that FedEx truck here as it's starting to make its way back out to Van Nuys Boulevard. Again, LAPD directly behind. Ooh, the car cutting him off. He's making an erratic right over into the far right side of the lane there. Now making another turn on Heartland. And the thought is that this person might possibly be armed with some sort of a weapon in the vehicle. And again, still awaiting word from the LAPD if they can confirm that for us. But according to radio traffic, that is what this person is wanted for, as well as the vehicle possibly being stolen. And so we're back out here on Van Owen, still staying in this one area of Van Nuys, even though being closely pursued by the LAPD. Staying on the right side of traffic, at least at this point, but near misses several times, coming up to a busy intersection, passing that fire truck. Yep, against the red light there, making a turn now northbound up Kester again. So just doing those loops, round and round he goes. Picking up speed here once again. So nearly 60, 70 miles an hour on these surface streets, where most people will be going about 40 to 45 miles an hour. Just barreling past the rest of traffic here in Van Nuys. Approaching Sherman Way here in just a moment, and we'll see if he makes another eastbound turn and just continues to make those circles around. Yep, okay, so now eastbound on Sherman Way, still staying in this one specific area of Van Nuys. And let's see if we can get a view inside the window at this point. Okay, so we see at least the driver. Doesn't appear to be a passenger, at least in the front seat of the vehicle. Something sitting in the passenger seat there. And he's got something in his hand. It's just difficult to tell exactly what he might be holding there in the driver's seat. Okay, so going to make another southbound turn. Sherman Way, nearly missing traffic here. pedestrians in the crosswalk there. Okay, picking up speed again. There's the LAPD air unit overhead giving updates to the ground units, as well as the watch commander that is listening to this pursuit. Veering over the double yellow line there as he makes his way through that intersection.
And Rich, this is a busy neighborhood. There's a lot of traffic around there. A lot of people walking around we're seeing, and he is really driving erratically, weaving in and out of traffic, but seems to be turning right, making mostly right turns. So making a sort of a giant square as he travels. And sometimes these, speed limit in these residential areas is like 25 miles an hour. He's going as fast as 60 or more. On some of the straightaways, he gets even faster. So really putting people's lives in danger as he flees from the LAPD and going over the humps there. Those are meant to slow traffic, and this guy goes full speed.
He gets airborne there for a second if he goes fast enough. And, talking about how dangerous all pursuits are, but Rich is right. When you talk about a pursuit through a residential neighborhood, then you have a whole other level of danger to the public. When you see people trying to use a crosswalk, it's summertime, kids aren't in school, people riding bikes, walking their dog, all kinds of things going on in a neighborhood, and people are unaware that this person is just, whipping around these corners, cutting off cars, going in the wrong direction at times. So, but you can see LAPD still close behind him there.
Yeah, the squad car is doing the best they can to keep up with this car, giving him some space at times. But you can see now he's on the wrong side of traffic here as he tried to navigate that turn, and still driving on the wrong side of the road here. Some people that are standing out there near their parked cars. So, not only is this car driving quickly, but he's changing direction so often that it's difficult to get, hear this coming on the residential streets there. Yeah, some people coming out and seeing this through the neighborhood. He's been going through this area on and off for at least the last 20 minutes or so. So it is probably likely getting the attention of some people, some of the residents here in the area that have come out. But for the most part, you just hope that nobody comes out and is caught by surprise trying to get to their vehicle. And then when it gets out onto the main surface streets, then you have the people that are in the major crosswalks, people on bicycles that you saw right there. So there might be an opportunity here where the LAPD could try and pit this vehicle if he can get to an area where there's where you can stay on the street long enough and LAPD can possibly catch up. But for right now, it's just driving so fast, going around in circles here through the streets of Van Nuys, picking up speeds that are nearly 70 miles an hour on the major here, Van Nuys Boulevard. Likely, makes another turn. So just continue to make those loops around here in Van Nuys. Let's widen out here. Let's see, squad cars. Yeah, still directly behind him. You can see the shadow from the helicopter directly overhead. Now driving down the center of the lanes here, using both sides of Van Owen here.
It's really scary. He's going like close to 80 miles an hour there.
Yeah, coming up to the intersection here, there's a car. It looked like it was trying to make a U-turn there. He was not able to make the turn. So flips around. Wow. People in the crosswalk trying to navigate around them and the vehicles. LAPD still has safely made it through the intersection there, so directly behind. But 60 plus miles an hour on these residential streets and the city streets here of Van Nuys.
And then when you think about danger to the public, when we see, at the bottom there, reports saying suspect could have multiple firearms, obviously authorities have to take that into effect too, knowing that the person inside, and they always have to make that assumption that the person could possibly be armed, but it sounds like, that's a real possibility in regards to this driver, unfortunately.
He's driving so erratically and so fast.
Yeah, not to mention the vehicle itself can be used as a weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really, this car seems to be kind of having a perimeter where they only go as far as a few blocks and then make that turn, which is, like you said, Rich, a lot of times it really has to do with that person being familiar with the neighborhood. They live in the neighborhood. They know someone in the neighborhood. And that usually is the case, and you would assume that that is the case for this person who keeps kind of making that same square around this neighborhood.
Yeah, and originally when we heard this pursuit, it started here in Van Nuys as far as we're aware, and it just hasn't left the Van Nuys area, and it's been with the LAPD the entire time. And again, we're still awaiting any word on whether they know for a fact that this person was seen with a weapon, or whether or not this vehicle was stolen, possibly by an armed person or not, but still considered armed and dangerous by the LAPD here as they make another turn up Kester. And because he's driving that vehicle so fast, and he runs the risk of striking anybody on the road here, and that's also a use of force. So here on Hart Street, LAPD is still keeping up. The opportunity we had to look inside the car, we can only see one person, the driver, in the vehicle. No word on whether they think anybody else might be in the car, but you can see the windows are tinted.
There was something that seemed to be a white object or some kind of package or something that seemed to be in the passenger side, front passenger seat too. It was hard to make out what it was, but you're right, it's hard to look inside. I mean, the side windows at least are tinted.
So now it looks like it's not there.
Yeah, now what was there?
It's out-of-state plates, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was something.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what kind of. What? Oh, it's a Buick. Okay, I was trying to make out what type of SUV that is. The small Buick with out-of-state plates. So that's interesting. If this is stolen, was it stolen here in California or out of state? It's hard to say at this point. Right. So all right, on the brakes here, coming up on the major intersection here, Van Nuys and Kester, and here we go. Back north we go, up on Kester, just making those loops round and round. All right, so staying in the northbound lanes at this point. We have seen them drive on both sides if needed, having to swerve around cars in the intersection, really just not willing to stop for any of the lights or oncoming traffic, just as the driver is willing to do whatever it takes to just get around and just keep the car going as quickly as possible. Really just doing racetracks here in this one particular area of Van Nuys, and lost sight of the car for a moment, but there it is. So now back on Sherman Way. Okay, and LAPD can see enough of the driver through the windows, and they are saying that they're seeing him reach in the back seat of the car. So that's always something that's alarming, is when the driver or the passengers are leaning over and they have no idea what they're reaching for. So now back on Galt Street here, making another turn.
And LAPD's not pulling back at all. Sometimes we see them give some distance. So hopefully they think the person could possibly slow down, not be as reckless. But they're trailing this person. How many units, Rich?
Several.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can count here. We're moving pretty quick, but we saw several directly behind him there, getting ready to make a turn on Van Nuys. So at least 4 or 5 units directly behind the helicopter overhead. Sometimes we'll see them go into surveillance mode, but considering this person is considered to be armed, they may not be willing to give this driver up anytime soon, doing everything they can, and just hope that this can come to a safe conclusion. Okay, so nearly missing the big rig there. They could have information that they have not released yet, that we're not aware of. They may be familiar with who this person is. May have a little bit of a backstory as to what's happening here, so might make this person, someone that they really just don't want to let go. So back out on Kester,
close
driving
to
really fast there.
90 miles an hour there, I saw. As we lose track of that behind the building. If you're just joining us, this began before 10 o'clock this morning LAPD's Van Nuys division in pursuit of a Buick sort of crossover SUV. It has out-of-state plates. The the suspect wanted for possibly stolen vehicle and possible possession of multiple weapons, driving erratically, weaving through traffic, cutting people off from time to time, going extremely fast. Here he's boxed in, looks like.
Yeah, boxed in, really desperate to get back on the road. So reversing here, there's a parking lot now going through the Walgreens parking lot here. We saw a couple of people walking around in here. It looks like they've been able to get out of the way safely. And LAPD is, there you can see they're on the major making a turn, so they should be right behind this white SUV here in just a second there, but him having to make a desperate move there, reversing and cutting through the parking lot. Now back on Galt Street where we saw him just a few minutes ago. And will likely make his way back down to Van Owen and over to Kester's as we have seen over and over again, then over to Sherman Way, and then somehow makes his way back down towards Van Owen. So going through the residential area, extremely fast here, 60 miles an hour on a small residential street here. And we're doing what we can here to keep this driver in multiple that is overhead here with us and having to negotiate with Van Nuys Airport here. So doing everything we can to keep up with this driver that just keeps driving in all sorts of different directions here rather quickly. All right, so she's coming up on Kester here, likely going to make a northbound turn. And
yeah, right there. I mean, that's the 10th time we've seen
Kester.
that. At least. So you wonder why they can't, put some kind of perimeter there. They know this person's going to go in that direction every time.
The driver seems to like Kester Avenue, and Cedros, and Sherman Way, and Van Nuys Boulevard. So, I mean, maybe a spike strip.
Yeah, at this point, there's enough units in the area that'd be. Yeah, well, possibly. The issue with that is the fact that if they believe this person to be armed, then they may not use a spike strip. As a matter of fact, they may not try the pit maneuver if they think this person is armed. That could spin the car right back head to head with LAPD, and then if he's things could go sour from there. But yeah, spike strip, as a matter of fact, could be something that would be worth considering here. So looks like, let's see, did you pull into look like a parking lot there just for a moment. All right, cutting over to the wrong side of traffic. Person running to get out of the way, saw a fast-moving car. It looked to be driving right towards him.
On the wrong side of the street.
And on the wrong side of the road here. Cutting through, back on Van Nuys Boulevard here. And it looks like LAPD still has to drop back. They're still behind him, so able to keep up even with all this maneuvering that this driver's been showing over the past 25 minutes or so. All right, so up to about 80 miles an hour there as he's passing traffic, coming up to the stop, and making another turn here. So, in a very busy section of Van Nuys, right there at Van Nuys and Van Owen, a lot of shops and restaurants right in this area. So, the busy part of the morning. There's another, that looks to be a motorcycle that was parked, but. Hopefully people are starting to get word that this pursuit is going through their area, and they can try and stay off the streets while this pursuit is going on, as he's willing to show how erratic he is, ripping over the speed bump there, very close to parked cars and oncoming traffic. It's a narrow residential hit, and you hit those dips, at that speed, you can easily lose control, wipe out, go into a cross, sidewalk there. So if people in this area know this pursuit are hearing about this pursuit, or somebody that's in this area, just maybe reach out to them, give them a heads up. Hey, there's someone driving very fast, wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
And maybe take that walk a little later on in the morning.
Yeah.
Some people coming out here. Ooh, busy intersection, nearly missing that car. So was on the wrong side of the road there. Yeah, wrong side of the road again. More people coming out.
Oh my God!
Likely hearing
right into
that this
head-on
is going
traffic.
on, coming out to see what's going on.
Wow, this is a person who's just driving without.
We don't see any damage to the SUV, so he's managed to make his way without crashing into anybody at this point. Small Buick SUV, out-of-state plates, possibly a driver armed. We're hearing possibly there could be some kidnapping charge involved here. Again, this is all unconfirmed, but this is traffic that is coming across on radio frequencies, not only from the LAPD, but also just amongst the helicopters up here. So still awaiting some sort of confirmation on exactly all the charges this person is facing at this point, aside from the reckless driving and evading police, but possibly armed, possibly stolen vehicle, possible connection to a kidnapping here. Okay, slamming on the brakes. See if we can get a look inside the side window there. Something, possibly a cell phone was what it looks like to me.
Holding something in his hand.
In his right hand there. Okay, making another turn here.
But this is a person
Cedros,
driving without any regard for anybody else's safety. And many near misses, many erratic moves, weaving in and out of traffic, going extremely fast on these residential streets, whipping around turns, going the wrong side of the street. It's really kind of remarkable that he hasn't hit anyone yet.
Yeah.
Really scary.
Stop.
Reversing.
What was that, a dead end or something?
Okay, backing up, flipping around.
Okay.
Let's look here. I don't see it. I don't think it's a. Was that a cul-de-sac there? Okay, it was a cul-de-sac, so that's why he slammed on the brakes and flipped around. Now going the opposite direction here, back onto Kester. So possible armed kidnapping suspect at this point. We're hearing. Now back out onto Van Owen. Wrong side of traffic here.
And there was that moment there. You
picking up some speed before.
Yeah, that you would think LAPD could have maybe stopped him when he did that reverse move. But again, I mean, they know what they're doing. They know how they want this to come to an end, and they choose the time to do it. But you just hate to see this person, like Eric said, with no regard to anyone around him, and you hate to see this end with someone getting hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. And at this point, we don't know if anybody's in the vehicle with this driver, which could make things even more dynamic and dangerous for any possible passengers that could be in the car. So we'll wait to see once this finally comes to a conclusion. So now coming back out onto the major. And just listening to some of the radio chatter here. No update on them possibly, trying any other maneuvers to try and bring this to an end, just staying behind the white SUV with the helicopter overhead as this car just continues to make loops around this one area of Van Nuys. Some people coming out with their cell phones to try and video, some of this pursuit and see some of the action, and at any time this car could lose control and end up on a sidewalk. So really just not the best idea to come out and try and film this pursuit. They're barely making the corner there, like nearly onto the sidewalk and back onto this small residential street. Yeah, fishtailed. Still several units from LAPD Van Nuys Division staying directly behind the vehicle. Hard to say whether the driver was a man or a woman. Oh, someone throwing maybe a chair or a
at the car?
Step stool or something at the car here. Ooh, wow. What? That was nearly a T-bone right there as it went right behind the tree, and seems to be slowing down here, at least briefly. And LAPD inching closer and closer, getting ready to open those doors and give commands if this person is willing to come to a stop here. Some people out from their homes right on the sidewalk. Okay, so now
complete
for
stop.
the moment has come to a stop here on Van Nuys near Cedros. LAPD out with guns drawn. Okay, door open. I'm going to widen out here just out of abundance of caution. And LAPD converging closer to the car, still using the squad cars there for protection. And some people you can see that are out from their apartment and out on the lawn there and in the driveway, watching this all unfold. It looks like his hands are up, showing his waist, starting to back up towards the LAPD. And more people coming out to see what's going on here. Still making his way closer and closer to the LAPD. Go ahead and push in here a little tighter. Hands above his head. And they'll make an approach here. Okay.
Seems to be following the instructions.
That's something you didn't want to see. He made his yeah, for a moment there, it looked like he made a reach back towards his waistband, and they quickly corrected him. So back, now prone, face down, in the middle of the street here of Van Owen. And they'll slowly work their way up towards the driver, make sure that he is in custody, and then they will make an approach up to the car and clear and make sure that nobody else is inside. And then, of course, they'll search the vehicle and they'll search the suspect to see if there was an actual weapon involved here.
Something happened in his mind that made
no other
him
doors have
decide
opened.
to give up, to surrender. I'm not quite sure what it was, but after leading police on this very erratic, sort of crazy, dangerous pursuit that lasted for at least a half an hour, finally decided there wasn't any point and he was going to give up.
Yeah, we saw that cell phone that was in his hand. Maybe somebody finally, brought this person the reason. Maybe he was making his last calls, knowing that there was a very slim chance that he was going to get away from the LAPD here as they were aggressively pursuing him. And then eventually we saw somebody, whether or not there was any relationship there or not, a person throwing an object at the car, nearly T-boned somebody, and then eventually just comes to a stop. And so he's being taken into custody. You can see the cuffs are being put on. The LAPD searching the car. They're searching the trunk. And looks like they are putting their weapons away. So it looks like the car is secure. Not hearing about any other passengers in the car. And we'll wait to see if a weapon is actually recovered here. But this person will be off to jail here in Van Nuys momentarily. And it looks like he picked up something with a bag there, but it didn't appear to be. Kind of tough to say.
There was something in the bag.
Well, it looked like some sort of object. Yeah, there was. So we'll wait to hear. It looked like maybe it was possibly like a knife or no, it's a cell phone. Okay, so we got the cell phone that's in the bag there.
Yeah.
And the driver being taken into custody and the vehicle now clear. High-speed pursuit through Van Nuys, now coming to a safe conclusion here at Van Owen and Cedros. I'll send it back to you.
It was really remarkable lucky way that it ended peacefully like that without anyone getting hurt. I just was watching this thing thinking this guy is going to hit somebody, and because people were walking around, he was driving so erratically and so fast, but thankfully nobody got hurt, and he is now in custody. The suspect potentially wanted for possession of multiple firearms, possible stolen vehicle, and possible kidnapping, wanted for a possible kidnapping. He is on his way to jail with a whole list of other charges, including felony evading, that relate to the chase.